Inside Plato's ancient cavern, prisoners mistake flickering shadows for the totality of existence. This mirrors how our brains filter raw data into mental projections. We navigate a landscape built from inherited beliefs and unchallenged assumptions. Most people live without ever asking if their perceptions match the world as it actually exists. This illustrates Eikasia. The eye receives fragmented sensory data from a complex world. The brain automatically connects the dots, constructing a coherent picture from insufficient data. We accept this distorted shadow shape as the whole object. Operating on autopilot means our worldview is anchored to a small fraction of reality, leaving the rest of the world hidden behind a veil of habit. If we are constantly watching shadows on a wall, we have to consider what is standing by the fire, deliberately shaping what we perceive. This is pistis. Here we find the puppeteers, the cultural narratives, media cycles, and algorithms that curate our worldview. By age 7, societal conditioning has already begun to lock our core belief systems into place. These early scripts become the framework to interpret every subsequent experience. Nobel Prize-winning physicists like Roger Penrose endorsed this framework. To a Platonist, the physical world we see is a limited reflection of a deeper layer of mathematical or informational reality. Recognizing that we are living under a form of mass hypnosis is the mandatory first step toward dismantling the illusion. Stepping out of that hypnosis requires dianoia, the third level of knowing. This is the pivot toward active rationality, where we use logic to analyze the structures of life rather than accepting surface appearances. Your biology resists this shift. When core beliefs are threatened, the brain's amygdala triggers a fight-or-flight response. Right here, you are seeing a neural pathway violently snapping and dissolving, the literal physical cost of cognitive dissonance. This process is known as neural pruning. Old mental frameworks collapse before new ones can form, creating a grueling transitional phase that mystics call the dark night of the soul. Because this transition feels abrasive, many people retreat. They return to the familiar shadows of the cave, where their own mental projections feel safer than the unfiltered light of truth. The psychological pain of abandoning an old worldview is the biological toll of intellectual evolution, rather than a sign of failure. At the summit of the ascent lies Noesis, the fourth level of knowing. Analytical reasoning is bypassed in favor of direct, immediate consciousness, a state where you embody the truth rather than just studying it. Looking at this bust of Plato, we reach the peak of his ladder. He used the sun to represent the source of visibility and growth, the layer of reality that allows all other things to be known and sustained. This escape from the cave mirrors the Eastern concept of piercing the Maya, the veil of sensory distractions that distorts human perception. This ancient Sanskrit manuscript of the Bhagavad Gita shows that the pursuit is universal. The yogic path of steady, detached wisdom aligns with the freed prisoner's journey toward the light. Achieving direct knowing is a global human imperative that bridges ancient texts, quantum physics, and modern contemplative practice. There is a tragic irony to the hero's return. When the freed prisoner returns to describe the sunlight, the cave dwellers ridicule him. Groups often isolate those who attempt to expose a shared illusion. This is the bust of Socrates. The Athenian state executed him for the crime of questioning its shared narratives, providing a historical record of the risk inherent in disrupting a collective illusion. Applying this today involves shadow work, the process of identifying unconscious fears and past wounds that act as our personal puppeteers. Metacognition allows you to step back and observe your own thoughts from an elevated vantage point. You begin to notice your mental processes without automatically accepting them as your identity. Transformation starts the moment you dare to turn your head and question if the world you see is just a shadow on a wall.